Hey everyone, welcome to our Team Nailed It Girls Night. I like to call it Girls Night. It's way more fun that way because some of us are in pajamas, some of us have locked the door so they don't have kids. That's me. Um, so yeah, good times. Tonight, so we only have 40 minutes to cover lots of juicy information from two awesome speakers. And we've got Andrea and Avery who are going to be speaking to us tonight how to do booths like a boss. Did you like that name that I named?
That's awesome. I love it.
Like a boss. And I should have spelled it B-A-W-S-E. Okay. So these girls recently did an event. I haven't heard much about it. Stephanie was just telling me you guys rocked it. So why don't you guys tell us what you did and just get started.
Okay. So we've actually done a lot of vendor events together. I think we've done, since Color Street started, probably like 6 or 7. So we're becoming naturals at it.
Nice.
So
Wait,
the first thing,
like who's under who or how did
so I'm under Stephanie and Andrea is under me.
Okay.
So, but we're best friends, so we figured we'd work well together, and we do. We have a good system that jives and works for us when we do vendor events together.
Awesome.
So the first thing I'm going to touch on is how we find the vendor events. In every city, you'll have a Facebook group that is like, so ours is Central Texas Vendors, and you can get on there, and they will post from smallest to fairs to the biggest fairs throughout Central Texas. At least that's where I'm from. But I've seen that there's some for like just Dallas or Utah, or there's some for everywhere. So just start looking for vendor groups. Just randomly Google like Utah vendor on Facebook and you'll find a group. And we're picking what vendor events you want to do. We kind of ask 3 important questions. If they have, how many returning vendors do they have? Because if they're not having returning vendors, then obviously it's not worthwhile for the vendors to come back. How many people, what's the foot traffic like, and how much it costs? Because we kind of try to make it to where walking out after we do a vendor event, walking out that day, we've already made our monies back of what we spent. So if a vendor event's like, oh, we only have 200 people, but it's a $500 vendor event, it's not really worth it. So you kind of have to weigh out the price of it versus how many people are walking through shopping. You can also look at like local Starbucks and stuff they have a bulletin board, and they'll advertise like events that are coming up, and it's not necessarily a call for vendors, but like we're doing one not this weekend but the next, and it's called Retail for Tails, and it's a fundraiser for dogs at the local shelter, and they weren't advertising that they needed vendors, but it said, hey, come shop. So I just called them and was like, hey, I'm a vendor, a brand new vendor. We have this amazing product and think it would well, y'all's vendor event. They're like, oh yeah, we still need some. So even if it's not advertising for vendors, it's worth reaching out to them. Also look at local high schools, because pretty much around here, every local band does a holiday bazaar, and it's like a very affordable booth, and then they ask that you make like a little gift basket for their silent auction. And those are really good ones because bands are big. And you have the cheerleaders and the dancers and all that. So that's a lot of families that are coming to shop. So those are kind of where we look for vendor events.
That's a good idea. I like the Starbucks idea.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm going to talk a little bit now about setting up, as far as making sure you've got a good tent that pops with color and very inviting. So when we set up our tent, we found that a backdrop helps a lot, and it can be either a white backdrop or a colored backdrop. It depends on what your tables look like. Our backdrop is like a lime green, and then our table, our 6 to 8 foot table that we put kind of almost up against the backdrop, is a bright fuchsia or hot pink, and that really pops against the green. So, and we also have found that when you have something that kind of waves a little bit, it draws attention. So I made these little pink streamer type things that I tie to the front of the legs of the tent booth, and it serves two purposes. It covers your weights, and it also kind of waves a little bit to draw attention in.
Oh, that's smart.
So not only do we have a table in the back, but we also have a card table in the front center. And that is where we do our magic, our testing or accent nails, or however you want to call it. And we also have a lime green tablecloth on that I made, because it flows really well, because you've got your lime green backdrop, your bright pink table with some lime green accents on the sides, and then your lime green table in the front. And that really flows well. It looks good. It looks professional, and it draws people in, because what woman doesn't like a lot of fun colors, right?
Seriously.
So, the card table in front is where you put your accent nails, and we usually have several little bowls. One of them is going to have the sticks, the cuticle sticks. One has the files, and one is for trash, and one is for once you open everything, you want to have somewhere to put your little pieces of trash. And then one has the prep pads. So that way, when they come up, I have a box that has each individual, a compartment for each individual test. It has 12 compartments, but 9 of those have the strips. So they can pick whichever one they want right then and there. So you pick that out, and then you put them on. But while I'm putting on the samples, I talk to them about the product. They're 100% nail polish, and it's whatever you say when you're talking to somebody about, because everybody has their own kind of little way of saying, talking about how excited you are, because we're all excited about, nail polish strips that there's no dry time, and you don't chip, and they don't smear or smudge. But anyway, on the back table, we usually have laminated. Yeah.
Sorry. So do you do both of their samples, or do you do one and then let them do the other?
We do both, because if you let them do their sample, if you're busy, that takes way too long. It really does. Because, if you're like me, you're kind of a perfectionist, and you want to make sure it's just right. But
Right.
We do this all the time. So we're really getting good at putting samples on people, so it's really fast. And I even have a little gimmick where I'll say, okay, you better pay attention, because this goes really fast. So I'll put the sample on, and they'll be like, what did you do? I'm like, it's okay. You get another chance to see this happen again, because I'm going to do the other one on your other hand. And so you do it again. And I try to do the first one as quickly as possible, so I can say, oh, if you missed it that time, you have a second chance, just to be kind of funny. And it gets them kind of like, oh, wow, that really is easy and fast. So that's why we do both, because it does make it go a lot faster.
And we found that if we offered it to people to do, they were a bit nervous if there was a big crowd. So then they were like, oh, I'll just take it home and do it later. And if you get it on them, then that's when they're going to buy. So
it put them on the spot, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've heard that if this is like a general sales rule, that if they touch it, they're more likely to buy it. So that makes sense.
Well, when they touch it on their fingernail, everybody that after you put it on, they're like, that's so smooth. How does that even happen like that? People are amazed by the product. I know I'm still amazed with it. It's so awesome. But anyway, on the back table, we try to make that as informative as possible, because once they're past the front table, you kind of push them to the back. But we usually have like laminated pictures of all the different styles. Like one laminated sheet has the French, and then another one has all the glitters. And then I think there's 3, correct me if I'm wrong, Avery, but I think there's 3 or 4 that have the nail arts. And you kind of set those out so they can see and pick them up and look at them if they didn't pick up a catalog. And those are either in Google Docs or the back office. I can't remember for sure. And also on that back table, we put our handy dandy inventory book that has all the different slots where you have your inventory and your pictures. That really I have found that keeps everything so well organized, and it keeps everything in one place. I don't want to leave product out on the table or display it because I feel like that's just too easy for somebody to pick one up and throw it in their purse. Not that there's that many dishonest people around, but you never know. I would rather be safe than sorry because I want my product to go home after it's been paid for. So we also have picture frames that we put.
Interrupt you really quick. I've heard that we can't file nails and such because we're not techs. Is that true? Do you guys do that?
It depends on the state that you're in. Because I know, like, you can't, in Texas, you can't charge for the service, but we're not charging for the service of doing a sample.
Right.
So that doesn't do it, but we don't use the nail file.
It's different by state, Kelly. It's different by state, and I would just make sure you know by your state.
Ah, good. Okay.
But we don't use the file on people. We literally just put the thing on, use our nail and rub it, and then we tell them that they can rub the rest of it off. We don't want to do it for, that part.
That's a good rule of thumb.
Having the nail files on the table is a good distraction for little kids that are, they want to touch things and have something tactile, especially little girls. And so we'll give them one of the little nail files just to kind of keep them busy. So when we're doing mom's nail, accent nail, they're occupied. And it also puts some color on the table.
Yeah, nice.
We try it. We have several different things in picture frames on that long back table. We have the Color Street logo in a frame, and it just looks really nice. It's a black frame. It's really plain. And then we also have what is Color Street framed and the price points framed. I think it would depend on whatever works best for whoever's doing that event. I think those work for us, but you might find that something else works better for you. So that's how we do the setup. Did you have any other questions about the setup part of it? Or anybody else have questions?
Does anyone have any questions regarding the setup? Or let's see, Paola, that they could file themselves, and yes, they could file if they want to. But how we put them on, 99% of people don't need the file. Awesome.
Okay. Are we ready to go move on?
Yep.
Okay. So now promoting or getting people's attention to get them to come in the booth. That's my favorite part.
Okay.
Because Color Street is so new, we usually open with, have you ever heard of Color Street? 9 times out of 10 in this area, people will say, no, I haven't. What is that? So that is a really good opener. So if you haven't heard of Color Street, well, let me tell you about it. And I'll usually throw out my hands and just show them my nails. And they're like, oh, that's really pretty. And then you go into your whole spiel about how much fun it is. It's 100% nail polish strips. And you show them your nails. And then you say, I would love to give you an accent nail. Would you let me do that? And so usually women are, unless they just had their nails done, they're going to say yes. The way around some of those, oh, I just had my nails done, or oh, I have fake nails. The way around that is, well, that's great because we can put these right on top of acrylic nails or SNS nails, and it doesn't harm the nails at all because it comes off with nail polish remover. And that's not going to take your acrylic or your other nail off. And so usually when you tell them that, they'll let you put a sample on it over their fake nails. That's been our experience.
So you say, I'd love to give you an accent nail. Would you let me do that?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And usually once you get it on there, they love it. And they love how it feels on their nail, and they'll sit there and rub it, and which is good because it really gets it on there really good when they sit there and rub it. But while I'm putting the accent nail on, I usually tell them how long I've had my nails on, and that just floors them, especially if it's been like, yeah, I've had mine on for a week and a half now. And, there's no chips or dings or anything. And they're like, how can that be? And they say, oh, you must not do anything. And I was like, oh, I do. I do a lot of things. I, dig in the dirt. I have 6 dogs. I have 3 cats. I'm always doing something. So once you tell them that you're an active person and your nails are, not babied or baby your nails, or you're not super easy on them, then it makes it more relatable.
Yeah. We have a question.
Okay.
Jen said, I'm a little anti-germ. People's fingers are dirty, like for real. Do you guys bring sanitizer and ask them to sanitize before?
That's hilarious. No, we've never done that. But I feel like the alcohol pads that we use, if you feel like afterwards, you can probably just rub your hands with one of those and it would take care of that.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think it'd be weird to be like, okay, and just like squirt it in their hands.
Yeah.
Let's, rub this first, just kind of guide them.
Right. Just, hey, here's some hand sanitizer. Just rub that in real quick, and that'll kind of help the process. And then I'm just going to wipe your nail off a little bit better with the nail prep pad. That, that could work. That way you're not insulting anyone by saying, you have germs.
Yeah. You're like, ew. Ew.
Ew, you're so gross. Do this. Okay, so.
And says, I'll hide it for myself under the table.
There you go.
Oh,
and then also, while I'm putting the nails on them, I also like to tell them what a variety we have. We have the solids, we have the glitters, we have the nail art. And sometimes I'll even, if they have one free hand, because I'm already finished with that one, I'll hand them a brochure so they can start looking at what we have. And then after I'm finished with them, with both of their accent nails, I'll answer any questions they have about it. And then I pass them off to Avery, and then she takes over for the sale.
Awesome.
And sometimes we switch. So, sometimes she'll be doing the nails and I'll do the sale. It just, we work so well as a team. It's like a well-oiled machine. So it works.
That's awesome. So Avery, what do you do for the sale, girlfriend?
So it depends on how many people we have back there. If I'm just dealing with one person, then I let them look through the book and let them see it. And it's kind of what we really sell it up. Like if they're like, oh, I like secure festivals, we're like, oh my gosh, look at this. And I'll hold it up right next to their skin and be like, look how good that looks on your skin, like next to your skin color. Or, when they're like, oh, I don't know, I'll like give them suggestions, or I'm a glitter. So I hold the glitter up in the sunlight. I'm like, look how cute this is in the sunlight. Like, it's so much better than it is in the picture. Just really talk up the nails to them. A thing that I think really helps us is, it is a new product. So a lot of people are like, okay, let me just get one for it now. So we do the buy 3, get 1 free, or the buy 1, get 1 free when we do vendor events. I'm like, oh, but today only. They don't have to know that it's a regular priced item. We're doing buy 3, get 1 free. Really great to jump on this while we still have it. And that's when most people then start flipping through the book and do the buy 3, get 1 free.
I love it. You could do it in a Facebook group. I actually did that today. I said party special. Like, oh, this is for the party.
Mm-hmm. So we use that all the time. We're like, oh yeah, this is just for this event. So it's a really good deal. You want to get it before it's gone, and people do it. The big thing about why we have our setup the way we do, and I think she hit on this, is when you invite people in your tent and make them go around that table that they got their nails done, being back there kind of commits them to buying because they're kind of trapped.
It's the flow of traffic. It's not trapping them. It's a flow of traffic.
I like the word trapping better.
There are studies that show if you get someone in the back of your tent, they're more likely to buy than if your product's at the front of the tent. That's why we do it that way. Then when we process it, we with inventory, all of the inventory is Andrea's. We don't bring 2 people's inventory. And it's her book. Everything is hers. And then how we split sales is we split 50-50. We put all the sales together and we say, okay, here's half the sales, here's half the sales. And then I take my sales and I go and reorder the inventory for hers, if that makes sense. I don't have an inventory at the moment. I don't have the ability to start one. I have a small one, but it's not worth bringing. So that's kind of how we do it, is just split it 50-50, replace her inventory every time that we're done. It's worked really well. We both get PV for it. And that's how we do it. We use a Square to charge it, and it's all her Square. Everything goes into one account, and then she just Facebook messages me my half, or however Facebook sends me the money, my half.
Okay. Yeah. Do you see these questions? Is this, how much stock are you bringing to the event? Do you have an iPad to order what you don't have? That's good.
So we do have a tablet to order if people don't have it, but we've done, before we had a big inventory, We did the paper order forms and just said we'd order it when we get home, and no one had a problem with that at all. And that we still do that for people if we don't have what they want in our stock. Andrea, I'm gonna let you take it away with how big your stock is.
Okay, I try to have at least 2 of everything, and the top sellers, like the top 20, I would say, I usually try to carry 2 to 3 more than just the 2. Because if any of you guys have the book where you can stick your product in, 2 will fit in each slot pretty nice, and it keeps it tight enough to where they don't fly out when they turn the pages.
I'm gonna go get mine so people know what you're talking about, because I organized it yesterday and I love it. So you keep talking.
I see the question, do you fill out a paper for even the stock sold there? Yes, because I want to give my customers a receipt with everything. So when we do it, we do fill out both. We fill out the receipt, we fold. So how we do it is we take the long paper that's like this and fold it into 3s. And if you see, when it's folded, the sets fit perfectly inside. And that's how I hand them their stuff. So it's the receipt with all of their sets inside and a business card, obviously. That's how I give them their receipt.
And we give them the yellow copy.
Yeah, and keep it white.
From a form, I missed it, obviously.
Oh, yes, that's the order form. Someone asked if we do order forms for when we sell in stock, and I said yes. It's a way for you to keep track of what you sell, and that we fold it into 3rds and take the sets that they buy and put it inside.
Oh, yeah.
That's how we hand it to the customer.
And Laura says, that's a good idea. Plus, then you still get their follow-up info.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, let me show you guys this. And then you tell me, Andrea, if yours is similar or how you do yours. But I totally stole this idea from probably you.
Yeah, me too. I stole it too.
Okay, so we stole it from someone. I don't even know who the original. But so it's just a little binder, and then you fill it with these little clear. And yeah, you can do 2 in each slot. So there's one facing this way and one facing that way. And I organized them like for color and solids, and and once you get your jumpstart bonuses, like you really start stocking up on these bad boys. But
right,
I love this thing. It's
I organized mine with like the French tips in the front.
Okay.
And then I went with the glitters. And then the solids. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yeah.
And then the nail arts after that. And I put the pictures. I don't know if you can see this, but I put the pictures with the names, and I alphabetized it all, because that way if somebody says, oh, do you have art district? I can turn right to it, because you can just really carefully, easily turn the little small pages. You know what I'm saying? Like where the pictures are, you can flip those really easily because it bends at that little spot.
Yeah.
So you can flip through, and then you can just open it to that page.
Oh, okay. And Connie did the same thing. So you did alphabetical order. Where do you get those the thing that goes in the tiny slot?
I cut them out of the catalog.
The catalog. Very smart. Yeah, I really love this because it's just so easy for people to come through. I just had a friend come over today and just flip through it. Face.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I printed out the Color Street logo.
Nice.
And just slid it in the cover.
Yeah, you guys search folder or binder in our Facebook group, and there's a link somewhere.
Okay, so Erin, you had a question about how many people attend the events that we've done. So we've done a lot. We've had one where it was horrible and 0 customers showed up or walked through the door, but hey, we made $200 on the vendors alone. Yeah. So always talk to the vendors, because we at every vendor event that we've done, at least $100 of our sales comes from the other vendors. So make sure you talk to the vendors. And then Andrea, how many people were at Georgetown?
I can't even begin to tell you. We were so busy that oh my gosh, I don't know. We did over $500 in sales.
Awesome.
I'm doing an event with 3,000. Oh my goodness.
She has no idea how much stock to carry for that.
A lot.
Girlfriend?
As much as you can afford to buy.
Yeah. So to put it in perspective, I would say how many people we put the people that walk by, we get samples. If we get samples on them, about, I would say 35% of people we put samples on buy. So
depending on the event, I would say you're right, 35 to maybe 50%. It depends on where we are. Because when we did the one in Georgetown, man, the majority of the people bought.
And same with we did I live in a tiny town called Hutto, 8 square miles, and we did $500 in sales at that one too, even though it was a tiny event, because I think every single person we put a sample on bought.
That is true. So
it's really hard to judge the group based on number, but for that many people, I would have a very large inventory, or don't have an inventory at all and just tell everybody that you're shipping it directly to them.
Do you recommend for an event that big that you have an assistant or two?
Yes.
You need to have 2 people at an event. When Kaylin and I did it this past weekend, there's no way one person could have done that, because you miss so many sales. It really pays to have 2 of you there. If you can afford to pay an assistant, I guess you could do that, but I would rather just split it with another stylist, because you both profit from it and you kind of help each other out, and it gives you good practice.
I just want to pitch in real quick. So Avery was just talking about the Hutto Market Day she sold $500 at. I just did that same exact event on Saturday and probably did 1/5 of that in sales, because I didn't talk to Avery first, and so I didn't know any of these tips going into it. So after I called her after the event to ask what I did wrong, she didn't tell me hey, you did this wrong, but she went through how she did it. So listen to these tips, because they truly work, because I didn't know about these and I regret it. So I use tips, guys.
Stephanie, tell us what you did that didn't work. What do you think didn't work?
Well, so I also had one of my team members there with me, so I also had a partner to do it with. But she and I didn't do the flow that they do. So she would put a sample on. Oh, sorry.
Well, you made her mad.
She would put a sample on somebody, and then she would also I don't know, we didn't really have a flow, really. It was just put a sample on, and then we didn't close them. Does that make sense? We didn't have a closing part to the sale.
You didn't have the trap.
What exactly? We didn't have a trap. Our inventory wasn't. So we had 2 tables, and they were L-shaped instead of front and back. And our L, one of the tables where we had the samples, and then the other tables where we had our inventory. So it was just what were we thinking? Why would we have our inventory at the complete opposite table where we were talking to people? So just listen to the way they're doing it, because they did a much better job than I did. So another tip is to not have the fall designs out. So, because that was another thing we did wrong, because we were excited about it and stuff, but then of course everyone wants to wait till those come out to order. So
right. Okay, we have 7 minutes, so we're gonna answer a bunch of questions, and that'll probably do it. Okay, so hang on, we got a bunch of questions here. I'm gonna scroll back up. So someone said, I need to do vendor events, just need to find them. Oh no, wait, let's start with Laura's question. She said, has anyone done an event without stock?
Yes.
At all?
Yes. Our first one.
Our first 1 or 2 events we did with, I think Avery, didn't we just have what we got for
we had our starter kit. Those 10. And literally all we did with them was we kind of pitched it as, and guess what? It's going to ship directly to you. In Texas, we got to use the benefit of, it was July 4th weekend. So it was 105 degrees. And we're they are nail polish strips. So we're going to ship them directly to you so they don't melt. And then people were oh, okay, cool. They're thinking of me. So if you pitch it as you shipping it to them as a positive thing, they don't have a problem with it.
Nice. But normally you guys just have a lot of stock and most people buy the stock. Is that what you're saying?
We're
Yes.
getting to that point now, yes.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's more effective?
Yes.
It's quicker. Okay.
You sell more if you have it there to sell. And the fun thing is, like this past weekend, we were out of, oh gosh, we were selling out of so many things. I was like, well, we have this one that's similar, but it's, not exactly the same. And they would buy that one instead. Nobody walked away saying, oh, I'm just going to not buy any because you don't have what I need. But it really helps to have the inventory.
Yeah, because it seems like people go to events to come home with something,
Right, exactly.
Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm reading questions, and I was going to hit on Laura's point that your main focus shouldn't be sales and returns. Our main focus isn't, I wouldn't say we don't really have to really focus on the sales. Once you put the product on somebody, it sells themselves. And I think the same is to be true about getting new stylists. And you also get that, and the booking parties thing comes naturally. People buy the product, they have it, then you have their phone numbers, then you can call them and book parties that way. But Andrea's gotten 2 recruits from working vendor events without really, we didn't bring it up to them. They brought it up to us.
Awesome.
So that's kind of how we do it, is we pitch how easy it is to do, look how awesome that is, look how easy it is. And they're like, and we talk about how brand new it is, and they're like, wait a minute, it was that easy? And we're like, yeah. And they actually approach you about becoming stylists.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I bet you get killer leads. So how do you split up the PV? Jessica wants to know.
So since she has the stock, so she had money to invest in the stock. It's all her stock. So what we do at the end of the day is we have all of our order forms and like this, and we sit down and we split them 50-50. And I take half and she takes half. And then with the half that I take, she Facebook messages me the money, and I go on my color sheet and order the ones that I sold, the ones that I had the paper of, and I order them all to my house. And then I go, here, Andrea, here's the stuff to refill your stock. And she does the same with hers. The half that she takes, she goes and reorders it to refill her inventory, so she always has a full inventory.
Cool. And yeah, I mean, I think I should mention that, like, whatever stock, you don't go into debt just to get stock, like order what you can afford and earn the rest with Jumpstart, baby.
The Jumpstart is a huge deal. And also, when you have to think about it too, not everybody's going to buy 3, get 1 free. There's a lot of people that are going to say, I'm going to buy 1 and try it out. Mm-hmm. And so we have a ton of just 1. But when you're ordering those, you get money for all of those, but you're getting 1 for every 3 you buy free. So that helps build your inventory too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to read more of these questions. Let's see. Erin said another way to find events. I sent a free set of nails to the event organizer. Now she's inviting me to events all over the place. Oh, dude, that's genius. Good job.
Yes. Be very nice to event coordinators, because we found that to be beneficial. There's a event that we're doing in November that they allow 3 direct sales people, and she was already maxed out, and before we even met her, and because we've been really nice to her, she's actually opening it up a spot just for us. So be nice to event coordinators. They will help you.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess it's probably important to find out how many tables and you can bring. Can I ask you guys, were the tables like this or were they like this?
Nope. Straight up, because one's a card table, so it's like this, and the other one's a big table.
Oh, so one's a square card table.
Mm-hmm. And that's front and center.
Okay.
And then the long table is in lengthways in the back.
Okay. Can you guys post a picture? Do you have any pictures of your?
Yeah.
We'd love to see it.
Avery actually posted some pictures recently.
Okay. Maybe we need to bump that bad boy up.
I think I posted it in the comments of somebody.
Will you post it on the actual, in the actual group? We are running out of time, you guys. We have less than a minute. So, but I think we answered everyone's questions. If you have more, post them in the group. And I'm excited. Thanks you guys so much. This is really helpful. Obviously, Stephanie said, they know what the crap they're doing because they obviously did an amazing job. So we appreciate you guys sharing this knowledge with us since we're all new and learning. So thanks again, and be sure to post those pictures because we want to see them.
Okay.
All right, guys, have a good night. Bye.
Bye.